Welcome back to the SportsMax Zone. The Jamaica Rugby Sevens team created history last week when they became the only Jamaican men's sports team to qualify for 2 senior World Cup tournaments. After finishing second to Canada at the Rugby Americas North Sevens Championship in the Bahamas, the Reggae Crocs also booked a place at this year's Commonwealth Games in Birmingham, which will be aired live on SportsMax from July 28 to August 8. We're delighted to be joined in the studio by 2 of the local players involved in the historic run. O'Shane Eddy is the most capped international Jamaican rugby player with over 100 appearances to his name, along with Jamaica Crocs winger Fabian Turner. Also joining us via Zoom is the board director of the Jamaica Sevens program, Bruce Martin. Welcome.
Thanks for having us.
All right, so I think I'll start with you, O'Shane, as you're right to my left. Yes. How does it feel to just be a part of history?
It's just an honorable feeling knowing that you actually added, to the history of Jamaica and a sport that we've been following up from we were, young kids. I started back in primary school, and then, playing against Fabian. He went to Calabar, I went to Norman Malley. So it started way back. We weren't sure that, because sports in Jamaica is not one of the biggest things. If you don't play football or run, you don't really get recognized. But truth be told, I actually chose rugby over all those other sports because, I started off with track and field and cricket. And, I was very good at football. I just couldn't relate to it when I got introduced to rugby. It just kind of...
You fell in love with it.
Definitely. From there.
Fabian, what about you? Why did you decide to choose rugby? And I mean, you've made it this far.
Actually, I got bored in high school. We had training on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And I got bored really and just said I wanted to try it for rugby. And at the inception, I was good at it. I was really tiny, but I was impactful. And it was something new, something challenging for me. And I just went out there, did my best. I've been playing against O'Shane for years. We were rivals in high school, and
now you're teammates.
Now we're teammates. We have history together. Now we are creating history, and it's just a wonderful feeling to know that the hard work and dedication that we have put in this sport over the years is finally paying off. We're getting some highlights. The country, the world is seeing us. Jamaica have a rugby team. That's a question on most person's mouth or lips when they see us in the airport or traveling, and just a tremendous feeling to know that we are getting the work done and putting Jamaica rugby on the map, and be a role model for the younger persons coming up that rugby can take you places and should be involved in it.
Yeah, well, Bruce is also with us on Zoom, as we mentioned before. I feel as if my question to you would be, how did we get here to this World Cup qualification, of course, and the Commonwealth Games qualification, the work that went in behind the scenes?
We get here by believe in each other, believe in the product that we have, believe in just team. You just gotta believe in ourselves just to get here, because we're not a popular sports. We just rugby of Jamaica, and just to know that Fabian and Eddie coming through the high school system and matriculate to the senior team, and myself playing for St. Catherine I. Coming up through the system, playing for St. Catherine High School, and just want to give back to my country. And growing up, I see watching the World Cup, never expect Jamaica to be there. And it just happened overnight by some individual players and myself and Jared Benzik that believe. It's all about believing.
Yeah, O'Shane, the World Cup set for South Africa in September. It seems like you have time, but I mean, time flies so quickly. How are preparations coming along for that?
We train every weekend. In terms of documentation, that's going to be our biggest struggle. To leave from the island and go most of the places, our passport is not as we would want it to be. So to get these visa early as possible, that's what we're pushing towards. We started making some preparation, some documentation already sent in. especially for the Commonwealth Games. But we're just looking forward to, to go to these tournaments and make history all over again.
Yeah, but do you think based on, I mean, you mentioned documentation. So Fabian, maybe you can comment on this. He spoke about documentation. But if that is something that you need to focus on at this point in time, just talk to me about the actual preparations for the competition, because you'll be up against some big teams.
Yes, all right. So preparation, we're always in training. Like the day we got back from the Bahamas, we went in training because we know the competition ahead of us. We know what we're up against. We're coming in as the underdog per se. Everybody is looking to have a beat of us. But that's not the case, because we have been introduced to the international competitions, and we are aware of what we need to do and the work that needs to be put in. So we are in the gym, we're in the fields, we're doing the running, we're putting in the work. Because at the end of the day, we want to represent and not just be a part of the competition. We want to, perhaps say that we have Jamaica, like what are they going to come with? We want to be that surprise system, surprise when we get to the event. So we are putting in a lot of groundwork, a lot of personal work. Trust me, it is time consuming, but it is worth it at the end of the day.
Yeah, Bruce is still with us, and I feel he would be best suited for this question. How has the support been from, Jamaica on the whole? Because we know where rugby is concerned, there are a lot of financial issues, and where support is concerned. So how has that been since the team has qualified?
Since the team qualified, just going in, I gotta give kudos to JOA. They're our #1 sponsors going into this tournament, that offset some of the causes that we face, and our Puma kit that you see we got on right now, and you see on your screen the jersey. Big shout out to Mr. Samuda for that, and Ryan and JOA. And so far since we qualified, we've been getting great feedback from corporate Jamaica, especially Flo. Got to big them up for that, because they noticed that all the players pay their fare to get to this tournament to qualify Jamaica, and they reach out to us to offset some of the players' airfare. They see what we do, and also Mr. Andrew Issa, they reach out to us. So I got to give kudos to them reaching out to us to offset back these players, what we put in, and make Jamaica proud.
And you definitely will make Jamaica proud. Fabian, this one is for you. I am aware that you all have full-time jobs.
Yes.
Yet you play rugby, which I think is extremely difficult, because a job alone is so exhausting. How are you able to balance that?
It's a great sacrifice that each player have to make, especially working a full-time job and a full-time parent with a second job. But it's more of a dedication and a sacrifice. It's not easy, I must say, and any athlete out there can attest to this, that working a full-time job or even a part-time job and doing an active sport, a national sport, or representing your country, because it's mentally draining. You have to think about your finances. You have to think about time away from work. You have to put a lot of things into play, a lot of things you think about on a daily basis. But, because of the love of the sport and the willpower to see it grow and to put Jamaica on the map in rugby, you push forward. You keep on pushing and you keep on striving for excellence.
Yeah, O'Shane, I'm also aware that you all had to pay to get this far, sometimes out of your own pockets. What kept you pushing? And, how come you all didn't just say, you know what, I'm trying to represent Jamaica. I'm not getting support from the relevant authorities. What made you decide that, okay, I'm going to fund some of this for myself?
I think history did that for us over the years. Playing a so-called minor sport, it just taught you that you are not privy to handouts, so you had to dig deep from way back, from primary school. Even when we had games in high school, we had to meet up. Sometimes we have to eat lunch before we go to the game, because no games were provided. No lunch was provided, because all the other major sports got those lunches. So from then, I think it actually just taught us to be humble and to do what you can to help yourself. In our so-called sport, all the teenagers have gotten to see us based on their expectation that we are not a big sport, but in their eyes we're a very big sport, because of what we are doing, because what Bruce is doing behind the scenes. it is so much on a wider scale for them. For us, because we were there in the beginning and we kind of crawled through the cracks and rumbles, I think for us, it's just a great feeling now to say that, okay, maybe a year, maybe 2 years from now is going to be much, much better.
And easier for those to
Definitely.
come. I'm going to give Bruce the final word in this interview. And it's based on something that you just said, you know. It's a bit sad that, you know, rugby players would feel as if, you know, they aren't the biggest sports in Jamaica, but the truth is that's how you're treated. What can we do moving forward to ensure that we grow this sport?
It's just to get into high school from early and just to make our country and corporate Jamaica know that we're here. And although we're not big in Jamaica, rugby is the biggest sports in Europe, rugby and soccer, football itself. It's the biggest sports in Europe, but in the Caribbean, it's not that big. We just need to put ourselves out there more, market ourselves, and just knock on corporate door more to know that we here. There's over 50,000 people in the stand watching the World Cup, Commonwealth game. We there with the big boys, and we here, and we just gonna continue doing the work. Whosoever needs to see the work, see the work. Whosoever come on board, welcome, and we humble, open arms, and yeah, we just got to trust our family, thank our family, all the players and myself that keep pushing us and the love for the sports.
Definitely, and you all will continue to do well. Well, gentlemen, I want to thank you so much for taking the time to join us on SportsMax. And just a reminder to our viewers, we have the Commonwealth Games on SportsMax. You know, so y'all as well should download the SportsMax app because you won't want to miss a minute of all the action.
True.
All right, thank you so much again.
Thanks for having us.
All right, we go to a quick break. We'll be right back. Stay with SportsMax on YouTube and follow us on all social pages for updates, news and entertainment.